Hello, baseball fans, and welcome back to another video. As always, you know us. It's Ethan and Brandon here, and we're going to talk about two teams that are going to go head to head in the coming weekend. It is the Chicago Cubs versus the Milwaukee Brewers, two teams that have fought for the number one spot this entire season. It has been a crazy time, and the Cubs have just clinched the wild card win against the Padres, and now they go up against each other in the coming days. It is a crazy time to be either one of these fans, especially for the Chicago Cubs, who have not been in the World Series contention for quite some time. So it is a really interesting time overall. We're here to talk about what these games are probably going to look like. I think the Cubs definitely are going to probably have a harder time a little bit more than the Milwaukee Brewers. But again, we're going to throw some facts at you here. Brandon, I'm going to shoot it over to you. What are you thinking right now?
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about. I'm sure the commissioner's office of baseball is extremely happy right now because they get the Dodgers and the Phillies and the Cubs and the Brewers and the NLDS. I mean, those are two blockbuster series. Phillies and Dodgers obviously have the geographical advantage in very big cities on the East and West Coast, and Cubs and Brewers is probably the hottest rivalry in baseball that isn't the Yankees and Red Sox. So, this is just it's awesome for baseball. It's going to be two really exciting division series. For the sake of the Cubs and Brewers, I mean, like you said, Ethan, they jockeyed for first place in the NL Central all year. The Brewers usurped the Cubs in August. They never really relented from that position. And here the Cubs are. They barely skated past the Padres. Might have gotten a little lucky in the ninth inning of that last game. This is a good Cubs team. We've talked about it a lot all season. They've got the pitching, the offense when it's hot is one of the best in baseball. The talent is absolutely there to beat the Brewers, who have not had the postseason success that they probably should have had in recent years, given the way they've obviously been winning the division pretty much every single year in the last half decade. So, it'll be an interesting series. I think the big story here is starting pitching. I think on paper the Cubs probably have a better starting rotation. And I only say that because Brandon Woodruff and Jose Quintana are both currently hurt. We don't know their status right now. It sounds like they'll both miss the series, which, if that's the case, definitely a leg up to the Cubs, who are missing Cade Horton as well. He probably won't be ready for the series either. So I think, again, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. One thing to point out is that the way the schedule works out is that the Cubs rotation is going to be in flux at the start of this series because Matthew Boyd, Shota Imanaga, and Jameson Taillon all started, or Shota Imanaga pitched bulk innings, but they all basically started in the wild card series. And so that means no one's going to be ready for game one. So who's going to take the game one start against Freddie Peralta? Is it going to be Javier Assad? Is it going to be Colin Ray? Might they go with a bullpen game? Who really knows? But that's definitely advantage to the Brewers. And then at that point, the Cubs are going to have to figure out how they want to line up the rotation for the rest of the series because, there's a lot of days off in between games when you get to the NLDS. So it'll be interesting to see sort of the chess match between Pat Murphy and Craig Counsell in this series. Obviously, Craig Counsell facing his former team in the playoffs for the first time, but I'm really excited for Cubs and Brewers to be playing in the playoffs.
Yeah, I am. I really am too. I think the other thing to kind of look back, if we turn back the clock a little bit to when the Brewers and the Cubs faced off, they faced off a total of three, not three times, but three total, I guess,
Series,
matchups.
yeah.
Which it was in May, July, and August. And every single time, it was very fair matchups. They pretty much tied each other for the most part. Some of the games were like 10-0, some of them were like 6-4, and some of them were like 3-1. So
Mhm.
they were very even matchups the entirety of this season. Again, the Cubs kind of fell off the tracks near the end, but that's also because we were injury prone very
Mhm.
much during the end of the season. Again, we have Kyle Tucker back now, which is awesome. So I'm very excited to see what happens. Again, like you said, the Cubs are a little bit on the downside when it comes to pitchers at the moment. I am, and this is me being a little bit of a Javier Assad stan. I think that he can hold his own if he does become a starting pitcher for the first Brewers v Cubs game. At the same time, I don't want to call him a rookie anymore because he's been on the mound quite a bit, but he has not played in this type of environment, so
Yeah.
that is a lot to put on a pitcher's shoulders. Versus somebody like Shota Imanaga, versus somebody like Matthew Boyd. So again, it is a little bit of a different setting here.
Yeah, no, 100%. And, for what it's worth, a lot of this Cubs core has not been in the playoffs before. The Brewers have won the division 4 times in the last 5 years. I mean, the Brewers are still a very young team. I mean, they have a lot of really good rookies, but, I mean, the Brewers guys have been here before for the most part. A lot of the Cubs guys haven't. And so that's worth keeping in mind. Obviously, the Brewers are, better rested than the Cubs are because they had the playoff bye, but the Cubs, I guess, arguably have more momentum because they had to win to get here. There's, obviously always conversation around that, but I think, this is going to come down a lot to, who manages the bullpen better. Obviously the Brewers right now, because they got that bye, they're going to get Trevor McGill back. I think they're going to get DL Hall back. Those are two really important relievers to their bullpen. Obviously, Abner Uribe is an unbelievable closer. They might put Jacob Misiorowski in the bullpen. Obviously, if he's throwing 100 plus miles an hour. I mean, they've got a really good relief crew back there. The Cubs we saw in the Padres series, they've got really good relievers, but no one is infallible. I mean, even the best guys. Daniel Palencia had a little bit of command issues here and there in the Padres series. He was excellent, but he wasn't perfect. Brad Keller really struggled in the second inning of his second outing. Andrew Kittredge wasn't great in his opener. So, I mean, even the best guys in the Cubs bullpen definitely are not, probably as good as the best guys in the Brewers bullpen. And that's another advantage for Milwaukee. And of course, perhaps the biggest one is that Milwaukee has home field advantage. Obviously the first two games will be played in American Family Field. A fifth game, a deciding fifth game would as well, if that's necessary. So it's going to be up to the Cubs to really steal one of the first two games in Milwaukee, so that they get to go home to Wrigley Field with a chance to clinch everything.
Yeah, the Cubs really had a little bit of a advantage, a very small advantage we can call it, being at Wrigley when they were playing the Padres, but now it's all up to being in Milwaukee and seeing where they can do the damage. But as always, we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Who are you rooting for? Is it the Milwaukee Brewers? Is it the underdogs of the Cubs? Who do you want to win here? And we will respond to every comment in the comment section below, and we will be on the edge of our seats as we watch these upcoming games.